Hi everybody, good evening. It's Shakti here. And we're back, me and Eugina. We had such a good time on our chat last Monday. It's only a week ago, can't believe it, that we decided quite naturally that we would like to chat again this evening. So I just need to, hang on, I've got to put my specs on. I've just got to ask Eugina to join the chat. And then we're going to get going. We're talking about dating in 2025. It's a topic that is so huge where we could just talk all night, I think. There's just like so much that this theme is bringing up. The challenges, the desires, the frustrations, what it's showing us about ourselves, what it's showing us about what's going on out there in the world right now. So, yep, I can see that you've seen my video, and I've sent you an invitation, Eugina. I hope you've seen that. Okay, so she's requesting to join. There we go. Hi. It's really bad. I haven't got my glasses on, but I'm a bit vain. Welcome, everyone.
Hi. Oh, so wonderful to see you again here. And you look gorgeous as always.
You know, one thing I love putting on is my red lipstick.
Oh, yeah. Red lipstick makes everything better. For me now, it's not red. It's like kind of purple. So I love it. Oh, this is so great. And I have a little friend here. I'll show.
Oh.
So he's been my assistant for today.
So he's not permanently borrowing him from somebody?
No, he's my my boyfriend's little pup.
Okay, he's gorgeous.
Yes, yes, gorgeous and naughty.
Naughty.
Yeah, it's all happening here. So if you see me getting distracted, you know that this little assistant is like really working his naughtiness.
What is?
He's a master at it.
Say again?
He's a master at being naughty.
Like, what does he do?
Well, he destroys the wallpaper of the wall. Like, for example.
Like,
no, just like takes it. He likes to bite, so he bites it and just like peels it off.
oh my God.
I know, it's like it's all happening, you know, there is not a dull moment. Stop.
Well, what's his name? And welcome to our assistant tonight.
Yes, welcome to our continuation of the conversation about dating in 2025. And yeah, we had a wonderful chat last week. I felt like there is so much to be said about dating and like various scenarios in dating and how it works out and how we feel and what we make it mean, and like all of that. But you know, before we go deep into conversation again, shall we introduce ourselves again for those of the who doesn't know us? I feel that who maybe never saw you before, never seen me before, and yeah, maybe yeah, I think it would be a good start. What you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of get that bit because I get so excited. I just want to dive straight in.
I don't blame you. So why don't you go first? And as last time, I'm gonna share our conversations on a few groups.
Fabulous. Thank you. All right. So welcome everybody to this conversation. I am so excited. So my name is Shakti. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth today. Actually, I'm obsessed with love. Actually, I'm working with this new one, which is love coach. I have a long background, 20 years and more of teaching, embodying awareness, sexual and spiritual awakening and authentic relating. And just this year, my focus has newly come upon dating, because I'm dating myself. And it's really amazing how all the tools, the insight, um, from my background in all these different strands of embodied awareness, conscious relating, intimacy, are so relevant as I'm exploring dating and as I'm writing about it, which is how we kind of got to co-create this. I've been writing a series of blogs about my experience, which is kind of a combination of personal revelation and exploration combined with like a little bit of analysis and, you know, looking at like what are the things, the trends, and of offering support and help people, because I've discovered that a lot of people, men and women, have challenges in this arena. So it's actually an opportunity for us to learn and to grow and to discover things about ourselves, you know, as well as, of course, hopefully have really fulfilling interactions with others. So that's me. Uh, welcome everyone, and yeah, over to you, beautiful.
Yes. Right. Where do I start? As yourself, there's so much that we do that it's like quite can be quite challenging to like narrow it down and put ourselves in the box. But I like to say that I'm a dating coach. And I feel like I have been an empowerment coach, a confidence coach, a pleasure and intimacy coach, because a lot of my work is around area of love, relationships and sexual empowerment. And dating and relationships, I believe, is a true currency of our world right now, especially it creates so many triggers for people. You know, it's like we like be sure that when you start dating, when you start being in a relationship, it just brings up so much for people.
Yeah.
Like our childhood wounds get activated, like all of like what you thought is like oh, I'm so peaceful, I'm so zen, I'm so this, I'm so that. And when you start dating, you just realize it's like, oh my god, I have this I need to deal with, there is that I need to deal with. It's like, so I can see why a lot of people, they choose to be on their own, because it's just like they don't have to deal with anybody. But when we are in connection, I feel that we have the opportunity to become better people by really attending to the wounds that need your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I love supporting people in this journey out of loneliness and lack of self confidence in the area of dating and relationships, into being like complete like butterfly, into like, wow, I'm having beautiful dates, wow, I'm in a relationship, wow, I'm getting married, wow, I'm having babies, imagine this, you know. So I love being part of this journey with people, and it's just such a fulfilling work. And as working with people online from all over the world, I also organize events. I organize events now in London and Folkestone, Kent, where I live. And our next event is Valentine's celebration of love on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And it's for playful adults. It's a little bit like kinky, but it's again, it's a playful event. It's not like a deep experience. It's just we will have a performance of shibari and just some connection games that really will help people to understand themselves better and give some context in how to connect with others. And then we have introduction to Tantra on 18th of February, which is in Folkestone, and also a very gentle invitation to connect with self, to connect with others from the place of um, beautiful security and safety within. So yeah, it's a very beautiful work. It's a wonderful experience. I meet so many amazing people, and if this conversation can help somebody to understand something about themselves, we're already winning.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you and I, we are so passionate about dating and also sharing our experiences and serving humanity to become more juicy, more fulfilled, and more like playful. It's, yeah, so we are on a mission.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally with you. And I would love to. I'm going to refer to some events I'm offering, but I'll speak about those later. Uh,
Sure.
if you're watching, things at the end. But I want to come back to something you said, Eugenia, which I think is really important because you were talking about how, because like when I started to blog about this dating thing, there was a part of me was I've been doing deep spiritual work for over years, and like, isn't this a super thing to be blogging about? And then of course I realized, no, absolutely not, because like you say, the minute into the field of connecting and relating with another being in a romantic or sexual sense, especially, like that's where the most the sort of the deepest wounds and the deepest get activated. So it might sound like, oh, dating, it's all about love, it's all about having fun, it's all about meeting people. The minute you step in, those very human parts make themselves known. And like you, I also really love holding space for those parts of ourselves, those tender parts that do get touched, that do get activated. And we all have them, like however much inner work we've done, something's gonna come up, something's gonna be touched, for sure.
Absolutely.
And the thing I want to kind of say, my perspective around that is that's not a bad thing, because there can be this belief like, oh, if I feel something uncomfortable, it's bad. Actually, my perspective is, wow, let's have a look. This is an opportunity. This is a gift. Something inviting you to love yourself more, to know yourself more, to work on a shadow that was a little bit blind, a blind spot that you might have had, to become better at relating, become better. So it's all an opportunity. It just depends what your mindset is, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that because our human nature is to run away from discomfort, to run away from pain, to avoid feeling pain, to pretend it's not there. But actually, when you lean in, like, I have this like beautiful equivalent. Like, I went to Indian restaurant and I had curry and it was so hot, my mouth was burning. So the first instinct is like, oh, let me have some water or milk or something to like lessen this burning sensation. And then I was like, hold on, but what would happen if I would lean in into the burning sensation, right? And I leaned into this. I just like, okay, I'm just gonna stop and feel it and just feel it. And I felt it and it just went. There was nothing. I was like, oh, okay. So it's more was for me to run away something, to make something so big and strong, like, oh my God, they're gonna be in pain. Oh my God, like it's my mind is making all of this. But actually, when I just gave myself permission to feel this sensation, it was just a moment of it. Like, yes, it was hot, but then I was like, oh, and it's gone. So there was nothing, So I think sometimes we make up stories in our mind that hurt our own feelings. So recently, since I'm doing self-development, I'm trying not to run away from things that make me feel uncomfortable. Even though sometimes it's really hard, because the default setting is to run away. Like, no, no, no. And the same with relationships, like run away to, like when things get too intimate, you get too close to somebody, or someone is trying to get too close to you, it becomes uncomfortable. Because over the sudden you become exposed. Like, people get to know you better, they get to know maybe parts of you that you don't really like to share with others. Like maybe there are some habits you are ashamed of, or not particularly proud of, or maybe there is, I don't know, mess in your house, or like whatever that could be. But I've worked with people that they were blocking their relationship because the thought of introducing their partner to their family, because they're ashamed of their family, was completely outweighing the even possibility of bringing somebody into their life.
Wow.
Like, seriously, it's just when we actually look, because everyone is complaining, not everyone, a lot of people complaining, oh, I can't attract a right partner, oh, but there is nobody. But it's like, when we actually look, there is no problem of meeting people, but there is a problem to sustain the connection, because there is something gets in the way. And that's something, very often something so personal to you, that you don't want to expose of yourself, you don't want to share with others. Like this situation, for example, where a person was absolutely ashamed of their family, and even the thought of introducing potential partner to their family was like, no.
Wow. That's wrong. And actually, shame, I think, not just for that kind of scenario, I think shame can be a really strong inhibitor for many people in the arena as well, like around different things. Like, like last week, amazing, it's just been a week, but I've run 2 groups for women in the interview time since we spoke. And this is dating initiative, right? And I've started by just offering single sex groups. I'm going to be offering mixed events soon. But this was just like an opening, just to how is it for you, dating field coming up for you? And one of the things, I think you've mentioned this before, that was I feel embarrassed to admit that I want to date. I feel ashamed to come out in public as a mature woman and say I love to date. And I was like, oh wow, and those groups were very, very beautiful and very moving. And like everybody was vulnerability there, because the things that were coming up, I think I really feel it's important to name this, is that sometimes men can think when we hold these groups with women that we sit there and moan about men, and really we don't. It's really like owning up to which can be really vulnerable. There can be fear, there can be grief, there can be self-doubt, there can be like, I don't like my body, body image, and there can be this shame, which can inhibit us to engaging and back out there. And like, and also like, how do I do it? I'm confused. I don't really understand how to work with data. It was all different, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to communicate by people I've never met. So all these things come up, and like you said at the beginning, this is our very human, and so it goes a lot deeper very quickly.
Yeah. And also a lot of people have been using like alcohol or drugs like a crutch when like going out, for example, and meeting somebody in a social setting, like in a bar or something like that. When you're a bit tipsy, like you're like less reserved, so you kind of have this more like confidence in you. but then to follow up with that when you're sober, that there is no something that actually there's no crutch for you, that is scary.
Okay.
That is scary, to actually show yourself for who you are. It seems to be like really, really scary. And what I see, based on working with like in a dating boot camp that I hold for women, like a big part is that when we date, we straight away we think is like, oh, we're gonna get married, have kids, you know, like there is already like a long-term vision. And
Yes.
instead of like, well, let me just, so when actually women get on the dates or something like that, they're so in their heads trying to impress or be liked by their, you know, date, that they forget to actually check in with themselves. It's like, do I actually like this person who's in
Exactly.
am I having fun, you know, because like the whole focus goes on them. How is he doing, how is he feeling, is he liking me? So, and we forget to get out of our head into our body and have fun with ourselves. It's like, hey, you know, like wherever it is, like let me just make the most of our interaction right now.
Yeah.
Let us have fun right now. But we're like, no, are we gonna get married, are we gonna have kids, are we gonna do this, are we gonna go on holidays? It's just funny.
These and these things that you mentioned, like the age group of people that I've been talking to, are they're like a little bit older than this. They're kind of, it's a different demographic primarily, um, where it's more about, you know, I've been in a marriage, I've been in a long-term relationship. Now I'm kind of like my second spring of life, and I'm like ready to date again. I want a relationship. I want sex. Like, you know, mature women love intimacy, want it. Like, I really want to make that explicit as well. So it's slightly different, but there is still what I've noticed, and I've actually caught myself in that, and I feel actually in the month and a bit that I've explored, I let a lot of things go. It's really fascinating to see what's happening. I'm involved with this process. You know, the fixation on who he has to be, the tick boxes, and has to be this, you know, and like this whole idea, this mental construct of what it is, which keeps you stuck in the mind and doesn't allow you, like you're saying, to feel, okay, what's going on in my body now as I'm in the presence of this person? How does it feel to have a conversation? What is my yes? What is my no? Which can only come from a felt sense. You know, one of the other topics that the women in one of my groups raised, many women raised, actually, was I don't ask the right questions, and then I end up with right for me. How do I ask the right question? And even though I thought, well, yeah, I get that you're saying that, but you're asking questions in your head because you're kind of going, right, what do I need to ask them now? What do I need to ask them now? What do I need to find out about them? Rather than let's just relax. Let's just be present. Let's be authentic. And if you're like thinking, what's the next question to ask, or what have I asked yet? You cannot be present. You cannot be like feeling what's going in the body, and responding from that place, right? Which is only, and this is why I'm so passionate about, you know, teaching me embodied awareness and consciousness go hand in hand. That
Yeah.
comes from, what am I noticing in my physical body now? What is my doing now? And what's the impulse that comes from there? And that requires me to stop and to listen and pay attention. And I cannot know what I cannot know what I desire. Like my head might action or an idea or an expectation, but the reality can only be known in this moment. So for example, I had a date, make it concrete, give an example. I had a date last week. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. I was blown away. And, you know, I I had no idea what the outcome of that day would be, but I was simply like navigating, okay, how do I feel now? And like normally on a date, I'd probably expect 1 hour, 2 hours max, but actually after 2 hours, both stopped and checked in, and I said, "Do you want this date to end right now?" They said no, and I said, "No, neither do I." So they negotiated what we wanted to happen next. But you couldn't have predicted that, and it was based in how do I feel now? What do I desire now? You know. Um,
Yeah, it feels like, it's what keeps coming to me in the last couple of days is autonomy. This word, like autonomy for your decisions, for your yeses and your nos, autonomy for your choices. And are you there to please your date, or are you there to please yourself, as selfish as that might sound? And if it sounds selfish, good. More of that. Because I feel like, be a like this culture is so stuck in being polite that it just like comes at the cost of your own sanity, really. It's like I've been on a dates where I really didn't enjoy myself. Like I really didn't. It was like it wasn't like bad date or he was a bad person. We just weren't a good match for each other.
mhm,
And
mhm.
that was it. It doesn't have to mean anything more or anything less. We just weren't, compatible. And that's okay.
Yeah,
But we would not find that out unless we would meet.
for sure.
So I think like having the approach to dating that it's in a way like your market research about yourself. And
Yeah, totally. And it's like what I kind of want to add to what you've said. I'm getting excited now because really, yeah, what for me, it's basically like ultimately all this is about your relationship with yourself. You think about someone else, and it is in a way, but ultimately, all it is all the time is about your relationship with yourself and your love for yourself and the evolution of that through relations with others. Basically, that's it. And it's also about said pleasing yourself, selfish. I really want to, and we mentioned this last time, but I do with the women that I work with anyway, there is a strong conditioning to please and caretake and a fear of being selfish. And I like from my own like conditioning from way back, my parents, maybe from my generation, uh, there was such a strong indoctrination selfish to ask for or to want something for me. And I know, and that's really unhealthy. It's important to know your needs. It's important to know your boundaries. Vital to know your desires. And there's selfish about that. And there's nothing selfish. In fact, it's the most healthy thing. It's like been taught first. It's more unhealthy to be nice to when you're not feeling that is inauthentic. If you're not enjoying, you don't want to be, you don't have desire showing up. The most loving thing to do for yourself and the other is to articulate the truth. Thank you so much for coming. This isn't resonating with me. I really appreciate your time. I'd like to leave now. Or however, it doesn't have to be rude. And it's not personal, but
yeah.
self-love and being authentic, and authenticity is honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can trust that. You
Yeah.
know, you can trust that. Like, for example, when you're dating someone who is honest and authentic about what they're available for and what they're not available for, you immediately know, can I trust this person or not?
Yeah.
Rather than when they like being wishy-washy and like
Yeah.
not so sure and kind of not really saying yes and not really saying no. It's just like keeps you guessing. And it's like, for me personally, state of confusion is the most dangerous state,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the state that actually contributes to depression, anxiety, and self-doubt. It's a bad, bad, bad option to be in a state of confusion. So for me, if I know yes is yes, no is no, I can easily deal with yes most of the time. Unless it's something what I really want and that it's in front of me and I'm like, oh my god, it's a yes. What? I freeze. Honestly, that's my response. I freeze. When my boyfriend asked me to be his girlfriend, I just froze. I was like, I don't know what to say. He's like, go and think about it. I'm like, okay. I just got home like a zombie. I was like, oh my god, what just happened? And I knew that he's gonna ask me. That's the thing. It wasn't even a surprise, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like a response. So most of the time I can deal with yeses, but no, it's like, no, okay, well, I'll figure this out, wherever that is. But lots of people, they are just scared. I used to date this guy and he used to tell me, you are so like direct. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, some things need to be felt and not said. I was like, what you mean? It's like, because it's uncomfortable for you to say because they're going to hold you accountable to what you said. You mean that? So he would like be very wishy-washy and it's like, I'm like, I don't think we work, He's like, you're selfish. I'm like, thank you. This is another thing. When someone is like trying to turn things against you, you just like, thank you. Well, yeah, this is how it is. I am selfish because I think of me first before I think of you. You're a new person in my life. You are actually, you don't have any rights in my life. You don't pay my bills. You don't like, I'm responsible for me. You're not responsible for me. So things like that. So it just like put things in perspective when that happened. But it was just so interesting, that he kind of tried to put this against me, that I'm too direct and that I need to keep something unsaid because it was more convenient, for for him.
Right. I mean, people say the same to me. And I do think there are cultural differences. So like British culture is more indirect in communication. Let's say that. It sometimes does my head in, but I've just learned, and I grew up in Germany, people are very direct. And then I've done trainings in speaking consciously, communicating truthfully. It's a work in progress, but I just know that every relationship that I have that matters to me in my circle, we're all like, and I can't be doing with hanging out with people who just don't say what's going on, because I don't understand it. It's confusing. If you want something, you don't like something, say it's not personal. But then we get reasons why that can be, why the is happening. It's both the cultural conditioning, but it is also fear. It's basically fear of rejection. It's fear of not getting what you want. And like probably men and women be indirect, speaking, or withhold their for different reasons, and sometimes the same. But like, that's why I really like the app that I'm on that's called Field, because people just straight up about their desires. There's no like hidden agenda. Like if somebody wants just to have a key casual connection, it's stated up front. Okay, so now you know where you stand, right? Whereas on other apps might not state that, but that's what they really. And I'd rather just know it's not personal. Just be clear. What do you want? And then understandings. And sometimes people can be indirect because they're manipulating to get what they want. And other times People can be indirect because they're afraid of rejection, you know, through the condition. But I mean, again, this journey is teaching us. We have to love ourselves so resolutely that we're not playing games. So we're not missing, we're not withholding, we're just daring to show up in our ability and in our truth. And then the consequences come, whatever they are, but at least we're standing in our integrity, you know. And that's what, for me, that's what conscious connect, conscious relating is all about. It's down in my truth. I speak from what's real, and not everyone's going to like it. It's not going to resonate for everyone, but it keeps that connection alive and intimate, actually, because the irony is that truth creates more intimacy, not less. It's like when we withhold and we're not really being more and more distant created, which
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and then life keeps moving organically and in a much more sort of fluid but happy way, is what I see and perceive anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, on withholding the truth, I feel like a lot of people, well, we live in digital generation where like actually it's easier to ignore somebody than tell them exactly how you feel and what it is. It's like, hey, I met somebody else and I'm actually not looking for anything anymore.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of people, they choose so-called ghosting, when you just don't respond to the other person. And actually it creates so much trauma. I wrote an article called Aftercare After Intimacy.
Oh.
Post sex, post intimate aftercare. And basically, uh, people just, a lot of people just fall into some situationships without discussing what it is for them, what do they need, what do they want, what does it mean to them, and like all of that. And they just fall into, like, maybe after a couple of drinks, it seems like a good idea to take the next step and go further. And then in the morning you part ways, and then women usually wait for the guy to respond, and there is no communication. And then this is where like self-loathing comes in. It's like, oh my god, I knew I should have not done this, I knew I should have not, blah 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 blah, and self-blame and like all of that. But what happens in the first place, we forget to communicate the, like, actually, if we're gonna go there, this is what I'm expecting of you.
Yeah.
This is what I want, this is what is important to me, these are my boundaries. So communication somewhere gets lost because people build connection based on assumptions.
Yeah.
And assumption is the fastest way to disappointment. So I feel like really this dating experience for most of people, it is self-discovery, and has to, yeah, you really have to become a really good communicator and understand already when you start dating somebody else, just pay attention, how are they at communicating? Are they telling you, are they saying is like what they're gonna do and how they're gonna do it, and they follow through on that? Or like, what is, just pay attention.
Yeah.
But we are so in a rush because there is like always next thing to do, always next project, always this and that and that and that, that we like just dive in like straight into it, forgetting to actually take a breath and understand is like what is actually happening right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that about assumptions. I think that's really true. Projections as well, same, like ideas about the other person just based on one conversation, one photo, or whatever, and I think a lot. Ooh, Where's she gone? She disappeared. I'm going to keep talking and hope that she'll come back. It's probably the dog. Like, you know, having an idea about somebody, that you make up this fantasy in your head about who they are based on your desires and your dreams. But it's an illusion, but you're kind of like overlaying your own dreams and your own desires onto this person because you long for something so much, that you're not actually seeing who is there. You're kind of wanting, I'm just talking about projection. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I got kicked out.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, just saying like how projecting your desires and your dreams onto somebody when you've just met them, rather than like just giving yourself time and space to really feel who is here, who is this person. You don't know them, you don't know.
Yeah.
And oh, I've lost my train of thought now. Projections, assumptions. Yeah, that's it. I've kind of train of thought. But I said what I wanted to say. I kind of got the thing. Yeah, I think I got the main thing there.
So sorry for the distraction, but yeah, you know, I think we all at one point in life are guilty of that. You know, when you meet someone and you just like get so like blown away, like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And you know, I went to the workshop where actually I've learned about how love works. And love works that it's the strongest strongest drug on your brain. It works like 100 times stronger than like cocaine or heroin or like whatever drugs that is. And basically for 2 years, for first 2 years that you meet somebody, you are like kind of infatuated by this person.
Wow.
So the love on your brain really makes you see things in this like rose tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after 2 years, this is usually where you go like this drug wears off and you get into the space like, oh, I never noticed this about them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I never noticed. So this is where actually it becomes real,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So so I think this is also like very important part to pay attention to, that there is like your body produces chemicals. So when you are so like over infatuated by somebody, just consider that it may be not exactly true, and it's just chemicals in your brain are working in that way, that it's creating, you know, you to see things that there is like they're perfect, there is no fault, there's this, there is that, you know.
Yeah. 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 And also like putting the other on a pedestal as well, you know, like, and not seeing, not willing to acknowledge that actually you do notice little things, but you override them. I spoke about that last time. There was something else. I wrote it down, and I think it's important, as you were saying, like if you're going to go into a situation where, and I'm quite happy to be very, very honest, pretty open about myself. Like in the past, I've done this many times where I would get intimate quickly with somebody, and then feelings would come up, and initially that I would blame them, and I would not take responsibility for my part in this, right? So that happened. And there's this beautiful acronym that I'm sure you know, you were kind of referring to it, which is conversation with anyone when you're on a date and getting like sex and you know things are going towards intimacy. And this is from the ISTA training. Kind of got some additional So the acronym is BDS, but then there's two more. There's RA, you slot in there: boundaries, desires, sexual health, meaning, relationship status, and aftercare. So that's kind of, that's a really good like acronym to have in mind, like the things to talk about before anything happens.
Yeah.
So you have agreement, because it might be that you have very different expectations of what this means to you. And like the other isn't wrong if they're different. You're not wrong for what you want. It's just, this is mine and this is yours. And let's just see, does this feel aligned? Do I go ahead knowing that for you, this is just a casual encounter, see me again, or whatever, whatever it might be. But having that conversation, I think, is so important. And I taught my children that. And I'm so proud of it. They're like in their early 20s and they know this stuff. And I so wish that young people have the conversations. And and like my daughter has sort of said, oh my God, like that's really scary conversation to have, and that's like quite confronting. I'm like, yeah, but like if you're seriously thinking of allowing somebody to enter your body and exchange body fluids, like why would you not want to have that conversation? And if you do feel shy, embarrassed, like that's too much, perhaps you're going too quickly in terms of like, because that kind of conversation is the most intimate, and that you really get to show us who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have the template. I will post the link for that below. All together with this article that I wrote. I thought that it was such a powerful article, because honestly, lack of this kind of communication is causing us trauma.
Yeah.
Is causing, like, this is where the abandonment trauma is born. This is where like like rejection is, like really activated. It's not being worthy, not being like good enough. Sorry, my pup is like going completely crazy with my slippers. He's like really like, yeah, she doesn't see me doing anything. She doesn't. He's just like going, so some boundaries have to be put in place. Simba, come here, come here, come here. Okay, yeah, so it is vulnerable. Is it vulnerable? Hell yes, it is vulnerable. But is it worth it? Definitely. It's like to help to protect yourself from heartache,
Yeah.
or possible regrets or feelings of shame,
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah.
This is the conversation to be had, for sure.
Yeah. Self-love in action.
Absolutely.
Not
There is
one.
there is nothing more that is, gonna kill your confidence than, next day you're gonna regret what you did the night before. Opposed to, this all can be prevented by just having a casual conversation. It doesn't have to be like very serious, because some people think, oh, it's gonna be so serious. It's like, no, you just sit down. It's like, hey, so what do you expect from, like, let's say if we're gonna have sex right now, like what today, what do you expect? What do you like? What are you into?
Mm-hmm.
No, and is there anything that you absolutely don't want, or like just healthy curiosity?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like point of, oh my God, we're gonna have a serious conversation and things like that. So yeah, my puppy is in my slippers. I'm like, can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, these conversations are so important. I wish I had known this stuff so many years ago. I had no clue. I got myself into all kinds of situations, and like you say, mildly traumatic in some instances. Initially, like before I became self-aware, I would blame the other person and feel resentful and make it about what they had done wrong, without seeing my responsibility for my well-being. I'm the one who's sovereign. I'm the one, like, what was the word that you used at the beginning? Autonomy. I'm responsible for my well-being, nobody else.
Yeah.
You know, I the idea that if I tell them, for example, they would take care of me. No, it's my job to take care of me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my to express my needs, my boundaries, my desires, you know, all of it. And, yeah, I just wish I had known this so long ago.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's something that's still not that prevalent in the dating world. And again, like on the Field app, where it's kind of described as being an alternative and open-minded app, and there's lots of you know, different sexual kinks and orientations expressed there. But it seems to me in the vocabulary that people use on that app, people have much more sex positive literacy that app than anywhere else in terms of identifying their needs, expressing their desires, and having a sense of boundaries and consent and aftercare. There a lot, you know, so this vocabulary needs to become more mainstream. It's actually, the irony is, it's the more openly we talk about things, the safer it becomes. You know, because anything is possible. We can express ourselves any way we want with anyone, as long as we're not hurting someone, right? And then this sort of repression and the taboo aspect of sexuality, which can come into dating when people aren't straight up, and that's what causes the fuck ups, basically. And that is that when people are sort of locked into their own shame and their own repression, so they don't speak honestly because of this conditioning to repress conversation about this as if there's something wrong. You know, we're all adults, we all have a sexual side. Most people love and enjoy that side of themselves. Great, it's healthy, it's beautiful, you know, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, there is a lot of body, like, shaming about, like, body count shaming, you know? So, and
Shaming body.
body count shaming.
Okay, what's that? I don't know what that is actually.
It's like, well, how many people have you been with,
Oh,
you know? And it's like, listen, how many people I have been with is actually got nothing to do with you. But there is, especially on Instagram, it's very often comes up, not anymore for me, but at some point, that there's like men sitting and like talking on podcasts that how women's value decreases with like a higher body count. I'm like, this is just so boring and immature, and like what are you even talking about? Like, women's value decreases by sleeping with, like, having sex with men. So unless the man really has the, like, value of 0 or below, you know, the, it just, the math doesn't matter. So
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I haven't come across that. Yeah, I don't remember coming across that. It's, but I mean, it's just a patriarchal construct. It's like the Virgin Four split. It's a very old-fashioned way of conceiving of placing, you know, the value of purity, really. But I mean, we all complete BS. Yeah, so yeah, it's a patriarchal construct that doesn't serve healthy relating between men and women.
absolutely.
Encourages objectification and denigration. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I celebrate the sacred, divine, and the love in the body and in our healthy sexual expression. And kind of thinking, just, yeah, I think it's dying out, but it's having some distance.
Yeah, it has some outbursts like here and there, you know. And I feel like still this concept keeps women away from really being true to their desire,
Yes.
being true to like really admitting what they would love to experience,
Yep.
what turns them on, what makes them feel so juicy.
Yep.
You know, it's like, oh my God, they're going to be judged. Oh my God, I shouldn't be wanting this. Oh my God, you know, it's like maybe it's not for me, maybe sex is for somebody who is like younger, slimmer, you know, taller, like whatever, blah 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 blah. You know, it's like, so we start creating those things because like we're so wrapped in that shame and like that shameful
Mm-hmm.
mentality that I feel like really taking the shame out of, or working with shame in a way that will allow us to feel good about ourselves, will really inspire us to connect with others from the place of autonomy
Yes.
and the place of desire rather than place of fear,
Yeah.
that what most of connections actually are created upon. Oh my God, I need to be somebody else because if I'm not, I won't be liked or accepted or like whatever. And yeah, like really, I think the message today is get rid of the shame, get rid of, you know, the guilt, get rid of your past, whatever happened in that past, and like be truly in your present and, you know, lead with your desire rather than fear.
Yeah. I want to say amen to that. And you know, the again, I love to bring personal examples to make it real. And like I say, my own dating into everything that I'm talking about. And something switched for me because what was I going to say? Like, I like younger men. I find younger men more interesting and attractive on the whole. It's a generalization, but that's generally where my desire has gone.
Mm.
And as I've come back into the dating realm, there's I've been saying to myself, I can't do that anymore. Now that you're 60, you know, you've got to go someone a bit more mature, la 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 la. And I was just not finding men around my age attractive and interesting. But I was denying my desire. And then I'm reading this book called Unbound, and it's a woman's guide. And I can't remember the author's name, but I'll post it below. And one of the exercises is, if I were a bad guy, I would. And then you just complete the. So I did that in my journal. And okay, if I was a really, because this is to get you in touch with desires, would go on the guy. I would definitely respond to that other guy's message. I wouldn't be swiping left. I would go. And I did that exercise and I went on a date with a guy. Amazing. And that's because I owned my desire.
Yeah. Oh my God, magic happens when you own your desire. Seriously, we put so much like barriers around ourselves and like how it should or shouldn't be, that we forget about actually what makes you feel
Yeah.
good. Like everyone has got so many rules around how relationship should be. Should you sleep with somebody on the first date? Should you not? Blah 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 blah. Like do what makes you
Yeah.
happy. If it feels right for you, as long as you're is
Yeah.
consensual on both sides, wonderful. If it's more than two sides, wonderful. As long as it's consensual, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, make it fun for you, make it good for you. I feel, yeah, there's so many shoulds and shouldn'ts, and we give power away to other people's opinions over our relationship
Yeah.
or our life.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is just not going to work. Your relationship, your life, your
Yes.
rules, you decide. You can create what you want, like without having to hold back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And you know if you're on that track because it feels good. and you feel empowered. You know, like, and I kind of made that move. I had an amazing day. I feel amazing. I feel good. I feel empowered. Like, okay. And then just more power comes, more juiciness. It just keeps growing. The more we dare just not listen to all the shoulds and all the societal, all the, you know, you should, you know, I've got like guys on Instagram, horrible people kind of saying, you're just an ugly old granny. You're never going to find anyone. And I'm like, well, if only you knew. Like,
I can't believe people said
yeah.
that. Jesus, that's crazy. You're gorgeous. I mean, like, gorgeous. It's like people just,
Yeah.
some people just like talk out of their own like insecurities, I feel.
Yeah. 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 It is. Yeah. At the root of all of that, of course. Yeah. Then once again, kind of gone a whole hour. We've only touched the surface. I wanted to just mention a few things before we, and you might want to mention your thing as well again.
Sure.
So thanks to everyone who's been watching. I've got a feeling we're going to carry on with this. So I haven't asked your permission yet, Eugene.
I had a feeling, I have a feeling, I have the same feeling. So I think we are on the same page here.
And I would love to mention a couple of things for people who are watching or watch back. So I have a men's group coming up this Thursday online. It's the first men's group for the Conscious Dating Collective. So men who want to date, men who are challenged, who have desire to explore, who want a woman's perspective on this in a safe, non-judgmental space. This is for you this Thursday, 7 till 9 p.m. Then this is a new thing that's just come out of the blue. I am offering, together with an amazing friend of mine who gets me that helped me to clear love. So me and a friend, an amazing energy healer, are going to be offering a session clearing love box for men and women on Wednesday, 5th of February. And then 15th, I've got a mixed group in person in Glastonbury where I about conscious connecting, where men and women come together and explore and experiment in a very playful but safely held way, not dating, but all these things we're talking about, like connecting. How do we communicate? How do we notice our body language? What does it feel like? So it's not designed to hook you up with people. It's designed for you to safely experiment with content. So that's my offer.
It sounds so wonderful and so needed. I so love that we're on the same page, even like events like you taking the Glastonbury and sharing this beautiful offerings with the Glastonbury people, and me working here in south of England, you know, like also once again I'm offering the Tantra workshop. Introduction to Tantra, like a really gentle introduction to self-mastery so you can connect with others in the autonomous way. Like it's perfect for people who have social anxieties, who feel a bit awkward in new social environments. It's perfect for people who want to create more happiness and joy in their life, and people who really value our authentic connection with self and others. So that's on the 18th of February. And then I have more playful kind of experience, more like a little bit like maybe a risque experience, like a social gathering in a beautiful place in Chelsea in London, Valentine's celebration of love for playful adults. So that's 30 plus, and it's for people who really want to do something fun for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yet they want to avoid like a big crowds or something like that. So we're gonna be a small intimate group, and we're gonna be also engaging in some playful games and activities. And I'm gonna have a shibari performance by a beautiful dominatrix. So yeah, will be absolutely so much
We
fun.
want
And
to Shibari is for somebody who doesn't know. Or...
oh, sure. Shibari is a rope play. So it's all about, it's a Japanese rope play where people like get tied up in a beautiful way, sometimes suspended in the air, sometimes not, really depends. But yeah, this is a beautiful practice that is super therapeutic, and it's also requires a lot of trust and communication and honesty, and it's just beautiful to witness how that happens. Like, actually, it's breathtaking to see. So, and then we're gonna have some mingling after the events, and have some champagne on the arrival, and like all, like a really nice way to celebrate Valentine's Day and really allow ourselves to drop into our desires unapologetically.
Sounds luxurious. Well,
Absolutely, absolutely. So I also will post that link to this article about aftercare,
yeah,
where people can grab also their template for our BDSM.
brilliant, brilliant. I think we've covered so much tonight, and yet there's like so much more.
So same time, same place next week.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, me too, me too. I think we are on a roll here, so may as well go with this wonderful energy.
Thank you so much, Eugina, and thank you so much everyone watching and back. Just thank you for your support. Pop any questions as well in the comments, because I'd like to engage with you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, indeed, thank you so much for a wonderful conversation. Is beautiful as always, and I feel like we have a beautiful synergy of how we complement each other, and like really speaking about important
Yeah.
things that actually a lot of people have on their minds. So yeah, and also I would like to invite people who are watching, if you feel that there's some topics you would like for us to talk on, please pop them in the comments below, and we will touch on those in our future conversations.
Great.
Yeah, beautiful. All right
All
then.
right.
Well, lots of love for now. Take care. Bye.